Well, your young people are trained in universities to become technicians, not to commune. They're trained to sit with not a person, not in the presence of people, but in the devotion to a machine. And they're forced to collate data from the machine, on the machine, sent from it, to gain accreditation to some occupation, which is to be a technician, to serve, to advance the achievements of the successful pleasure seekers in the society. So they're starved, your youth, of relationships with people, only with machines, to become technicians. You see, words are the physical manifestation, so to speak, of other persons. They are not persons in their own right. Our joy is in relationship to people, communion. And very little in relationship to things. Our computers, which are really just terminals, not computers, are to an artificial, very complex being, but not a person. Rather an amalgam of the hard evidence of personhood, words, speech, ideas. But the company of a person is the reality of what such is only the indication of. You hear words and you associate it with a person. Or you read words, you associate it with a person. But you don't feel the reality of the person unless you're in range of them. You might watch for some time a person on the screen and start to pick up a personality, and you start to become attuned to, so that you're not just receiving the words, you're receiving something of the presence of that person as an entirety. But the bonding, the total acceptance of such, only comes from exchange, where you see the impact of you on them and them on you. You become a communal experience. That is what the fullness of humanity is about. It's not just the doing, not just the work, in other words, but something over and above the work, which used to be relationship to other workers, but increasingly in the modern world, in your isolation with a terminal, called a laptop computer perhaps. Put two students together that find each other interesting, of course, and you have joy, you have chatter, You have laughter. You have life. Life is community. There are problems of community, of course. Discord, war, fractions, divisions. But that simply highlights what's truly of value, namely the absence of such. Communality, friendship, love. Reason for living, part of a human living whole, which of course is what the notion of heaven being the family of God, a host of heaven, was the appeal. So I find both my sons not the least bit interested in being part of academia. I suppose the association with it just being part of the production process. And a byroad to what the production process was about, which was meeting wants and needs, which of course our technology can do very ably and increasingly without us. Both sons instead excelled in the business, the shop floor, the comradeship with other workers, people. And sure, my younger son, gifted on the computer. Great asset to know from a technical point of view alone. But his life is in relating, doing, out, driving, travelling, variety. Bless him. And my older son, independent, his own business. Podiatrist, incredible free thinker, and yet still Christian. Oh, rather better than Christian. Well, it's one thing being a student in the modern world, it's quite another thing to have been a professor, especially in the old. Because you had the freedom to be. Socially, of course, you were totally acceptable and admired, and free in time to relate and talk and discuss and mix with a great variety of persons that you want to mix with. And to love, of course, teaching and relating in lecture and class. You do that less in the modern world. Send out your lessons on the media and mark the assignments that come back. Well, if you're wise, you farm out the marking to someone else. Yes. And of course we've made the teacher himself redundant, haven't we? I mean, what's the point in following a teacher from your local university when you could just as easily be learning from a teacher on the internet with any university in the world? Why not choose the best one? And how do you mix and meet with your fellow students? You're lucky if you even see them. And certainly don't get to know them in the way a few years at university used to do. We don't bother to go onto campus these days. We stay at home where we've got the economic and social security of mum and dad, and our original friends. We don't need to lose them, except in as far as we're very busy studying these days. It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. We have become poor players that strut and fret our hour upon the stage, and then are heard no more. The holy man used to walk by the Ganges, or in the cloisters. But the holy man of this century may be found on the campus, but not in the university. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.